You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
It's now time for Friday Nights with Nautica de la Cruz.
Hello, Mo. Happy Friday, TGIF. Well, it's about that time for Discover SoCal. So I told you I was going to Alhambra, and I did. I made my way over to Alhambra Historical Society Museum, which is a place dedicated to preserving and showcasing the rich history of Alhambra, California. It offers visitors a glimpse into the city's past through a variety of exhibits and collections. The museum houses artifacts, photographs, documents that highlight significant events, people, and milestones that have shaped the community over the years. Now, I had the pleasure of receiving a one-on-one tour of the Alhambra Historical Society Museum from a dedicated volunteer named Bruce, who previously served as a firefighter for 35 years for the city of Alhambra. And he knew about everything, like everything. Inside the museum, Bruce guided me through a variety of displays that highlighted different aspects of Alhambra's history, from its beginning as a small settlement to its development into the thriving city it is today, and beautiful, by the way. His insights and personal stories added a unique and enriching perspective to the experience, making the tour even more memorable. The exhibits are thoughtfully curated, offering a mix of personal stories, historical objects, and detailed timelines that tell visitors and help them understand the evolution of the area. Whether you're interested in local architecture, cultural heritage, or the daily lives of residents from decades ago, like a telenovela, there's something for everyone. And in addition to the permanent exhibits, the Alhambra Historical Society Museum often hosts special events and temporary exhibits to delve into specific topics or celebrate local achievements. These events provide opportunities for the community to come together, to learn, and to share a little bit about their history. Earlier, I mentioned documents, right? Well, I got to see some documents and articles and even a yearbook from Alhambra High School from 1948. Now, listen. Ralph Kiner, do you know who he is?
As in baseball?
Yes. Ralph Kiner, a legendary Major League Baseball player, attended Alhambra High School. Excelling in high school, he went on to make his mark in the big leagues, becoming one of the most feared sluggers of his era. Ralph Kiner also played for the Pittsburgh Pirates, where he dominated the National League by leading in home runs for 7 straight seasons from 1946 to 1952. His remarkable accomplishments led him into the induction into the Baseball Hall of Fame in 1975. And I got some tea from one of the volunteers there. So, you know Bing Crosby?
Yes, White Christmas.
White Christmas. So Bing Crosby, who was friends with Ralph Kiner, introduced him to Elizabeth Taylor, who he then dated, who he then took to a Hollywood premiere. So I got to see all the pictures and I got the tea. I got the scoop. So it was pretty good.
That's a story I did not know.
Yes. So that's what happens when you talk to people. You get a little bit of nosy. Also who came from Alhambra, is Norman Cantor, a renowned medieval historian and professor. Claudia Lenner, from a former, ICAT, she went on tour with Tina Turner.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Ike and Tina. And Frank Pastore. Do you know who he is? Also MLB player. Yes, he was a pitcher for the Cincinnati Reds and the Minnesota Twins during the 70s and the 80s. And he also had a popular radio show here in LA, KKLA Christian radio station, and he died in 2012 in an accident. It's a really cute, very quaint museum. And if you would like to go, it's located at 1550 West Alhambra Road. Now, it's only open from 1 to 4 the first and the third Saturday of every month, and admission is free 99.
Hey, it doesn't get any better than that.
Right? So, and I'm telling you, the house is so cute. It's a house museum and it's filled with tall hydrangeas. That's how you know it is, because the sign is kind of small, but
I don't know what those flowers are.
Hydrangeas, I don't know how to describe them. They're these big flowers and big colors. But it's, like I said, it's a very quaint, very cute museum, and it's really nice just to get to know a little bit of history. One other thing I saw in the plans on the wall was, I don't know if you know this, but you know how now we have the Burbank Airport?
Yes.
Before the Burbank Airport, it was the Alhambra Airport. And so they decided that they wanted to take that lot and that area and knock it down. And since Alhambra was growing, Burbank was starting to grow. So they said, oh, there's enough land in Burbank to make the airport there. So it used to be Alhambra where you would land if you wanted to kind of land in the valley, but now it's Burbank. So just a little bit of information.
That's
and,
something else I did not know.
Yeah, that's all about discovering SoCal. And for more information, you could also visit their website and donate, alhambrahistoricalsociety.org. That's alhambrahistoricalsociety.org.
And when we come back, we'll have another hidden gem from Nautica de la Cruz. This is Fridays with Nautica.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
Now it's back to Nautica de la Cruz.
Thank you, Mo. Today's hidden gem is Kenneth De Oso. Kenneth De Oso's journey into the world of plants began early in his childhood. Growing up on his parents' ranch, he spent countless hours exploring the vast fields and gardens that surrounded his home. His fascination with the natural world deepened as he observed the growth of different plants and how they responded to the care and attention they received. This passion for nature, and the science behind grew stronger as he got older. When it came time to choose the path of higher education, Kenneth naturally gravitated towards the University of California, Irvine, where he majored in botany, plant biology. His time at UC Irvine was a period of intense learning and discovery. Kenneth immersed himself in his studies, focusing on understanding the intricate relationships between plants, their environments, and the broader ecosystems they support. After graduating, Kenneth returned to his roots, literally. He began cultivating vegetables in the backyard of his parents' ranch using the knowledge he had acquired during his studies. His home garden quickly became a flourishing oasis of greenery, showcasing a variety of vegetables that thrived under his care. Kenneth's commitment to sustainable farming practices and his ability to grow fresh, organic produce became well known in his local community, where he shared his expertise with his neighbors and his friends who wanted to grow as well. It was this deep connection to sustainable agriculture that eventually led Kenneth to become involved with growgood.org. While attending a locals farmer market, Kenneth met a representative from the organization who was impressed by his dedication to organic farming and his innovative techniques. GrowGood.org is a nonprofit organization dedicated to transforming urban spaces into thriving community gardens. Their mission is to address food insecurity and promote sustainable living by creating green spaces that not only provide fresh, organic produce, but also serve as educational hubs for their local residents. These gardens are strategically developed in underutilized areas, turning vacant lots and unused land into vibrant ecosystems that benefit both environment and the community. Through hands-on workshops and partnerships with local schools and organizations, GrowGood.org empowers individuals to cultivate their own food, fostering a deeper connection to nature and promoting healthier, more sustainable lifestyles. Over the years, GrowGood.org has achieved remarkable success in its mission. The organization has established numerous community gardens across various cities, providing thousands of pounds of fresh produce to food banks and shelters. Their flagship garden, located in Bell, California, has become a model of urban agriculture, featuring a permaculture garden and food as well as a forest, and educational programs that reach hundreds of participants annually. GrowGood.org GrowGoods.org's work has not only helped to elevate food deserts, but has also built stronger, more resilient communities by bringing people together to share the joys of gardening and sustainable living. And if you'd like to learn a little bit more, you could also visit their website, growgood.org. And please visit their website to see how you could get involved. And you could also catch Kenneth. They also sometimes at the Pasadena Farmers Market, the Studio City Farmers Market, and I believe it's the one in Topanga. I'm not really sure, but I just wanted to say, Kenneth, also, I love what you're doing. I love organic produce, and keep going.
I often am amazed at how little people know about the idea of a food desert, how depending on where you go in the city, you will have a hard time trying to have to come across a decent grocery store with real produce. You may find like a meat market here.
Yes.
You may find like a little bodega over there, but a full-on grocery store, they're not all created equal, and they're not the same quality of food which is being sold in them. So when I hear stories like this, I'm always encouraged, because I think it brings more light to the issue of food deserts. And like just where I live, you have to go a mile or two in any different direction to get to a decent grocery store. Decent. I'm not saying a good one, just a decent one.
Well, the other thing too is, first of all, I love that you said bodega, because that takes me back home. And we have a bodega on every corner. But also another thing is, I like the fact that that we are starting to eat a little bit more organic. It doesn't mean, sometimes I have this feeling that organic is not really organic, depending on where you shop. You know what I mean? And yes, it is a little bit more, but you could also learn how to grow your own stuff in your own house. If you have a kitchen bay window, a piece of, land in your backyard, it takes time to cultivate your vegetables. My mom, has a big backyard, and this lady grows everything from cilantro to those little baby corns to cucumbers to, jalapenos, dill, what else? Oregano, and when I lived in my old house, I was growing a little bit of that too. And you save so much money, Mo, so much money when you grow things yourself.
I don't have the time, the patience,
yes,
or the skill to do it. I think, look, for the most part, and I still have the plant that you gave me. I haven't killed that yet.
Okay, good. The air plant.
Yes.
Yay.
For the most part, anything that is supposed to live in my house, which is not a mammal, will die.
Okay.
I do not have a green thumb. I remember as a child, I would try to grow things in the backyard. I would marvel at people who could, but that just wasn't my skill set. So when you tell me about your mother growing all those items, like, yeah, I would starve if I had to live off the food that I was actually growing.
Oh no, I think I would do pretty well. And the thing is sometimes you just got to get a little dirty. You just got to get extra dirty. And I mean, in the backyard, you know what I mean? And you got to learn. And I have to say that, I like the fact that you're honest. You don't have a green thumb. You're very honest and transparent about that. Not everyone does have a green thumb, but it takes a little bit of practice. It takes a little bit of learning. And, Kenneth also told me about, he got very strategic on things that I was like, whew, over my head. But, sunlight, and the dirt needs vitamins, and, you need to sow the dirt as well. You need to seed at a certain time. It's a lot.
That's what I mean.
Yes, it is a lot of work and a lot of patience. But I think if you want that farm to table kind of thing, and you have the land in your backyard to do it, and you want to, it's never too late to learn. And it's such a great feeling to go, I grew that baby corn, or I picked that cucumber from the back. You know what I mean?
So can I just go ahead and be bougie and just go to Whole Foods?
You can always do that too.
Okay.
Give them your money. Okay. It's across the street. Go ahead. Give them your money.
A lot of money at that. Growgood.org.
Yes.
Thank you so much for that, Nautica.
You're welcome.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
Pop culture Rahner report with Mark Rahner. Now on Later with Mo Kelly, Mark talks about movies and TV, pontificates about pop culture. Rahner report with Mark Rahner. Mark Rahner right now. Mark Rahner right now. Report with Mark Rahner.
KFI AM 640. It's now time for the Rahner Report with the Mark Rahner.
Is it weird that song still makes me snort just a little bit? I'm still not over the novelty of that thing.
It's great. What are you talking about?
Okay, tonight
to it.
Alien Romulus tonight. I think critics should be upfront when they talk to you about what they're into and what they aren't, but mostly you got to infer that from what they write. I am into Alien, but it seems like that's more and more like saying I'm into Star Wars. The first two were great, and there's been a lot that's ranged from mixed to code browns ever since then. And Alien Romulus isn't quite the turning point that, say, The Mandalorian was for Star Wars, but it's not bad. And I'll even admit this. One of the best experiences of my career somewhere in the lower middle of journalism has been watching the director's cut of the original Alien with Tom Skerritt at his place in Seattle a number of years ago. We watched the version with the scene that was cut from the original where Ripley finds his Dallas character trapped in an alien cocoon spiderweb thingy on a wall and he begs her to kill him. I got the chills, and not just because my hand was on his leg. What a great nerd day. Huh? Never mind. I set the recorder on the coffee table and just turned it on while we watched the movie and talked through it. It was terrific. Now, Alien Romulus is set after Ridley Scott's original Alien from 1979 and before James Cameron's Aliens, plural, from 1986. And it includes lots of references to those and others in the series. I think there's been 7, not counting those trash Alien versus Predator movies. And yes, they're trash, but of course I watched them. It's what we do. In this one, a handful of young people on a mining planet with no sun decide they'd like to experience vitamin D in real life someday, and they want off the planet. But they don't have a metro like we do in LA, and what they do is nearly as dangerous. Now, here's a little bit of the trailer, but not much of it because it's largely visual, and this is radio. Also, there's an F-bomb after about a minute, so I'm going to try and cut it off before then. Shpoosh, stand by that dump button.
Are you sure you want to do this? There she is. You want to break in and steal highly regulated equipment.
This could be our only ticket out of here. Should be in and out in 30 minutes.
Welcome to the Romulus Space Station.
This place gives me the creeps. What the hell is this?
I don't know.
Okay, just to be on the safe side, we're going to cut it off right there. Anyway, to make their 9-year voyage, these young people need to steal some stuff from a derelict space station. But it's not like your typical smash and grab in the valley. You got 2 problems. The space station's orbit is decaying, and it's going to get cheese grated by the planet's rings in a matter of hours, and the ship is lousy with face huggers and xenomorphs. There's your setup. This is a great looking movie, and it looks like they spent some money on it too. The sets are so cool that you want to freeze frame it just to get a good look at everything, which apparently you can't do in a theater no matter how much the guy 2 rows in front of me waved his hands over his head the whole show. Anyway, it's worth remembering that the original Alien, remember, these things, the ships are meant to look like a haunted house, and the original Alien was really the first space movie to make the ship all grungy and lived-in looking, and not like Star Trek, which honestly can sometimes resemble an OB-GYN clinic. And it would be illogical of you to ask how I know that. The movie moves right along. Not much fat to trim here. It kept my attention from start to finish, and there are some tense, effective set pieces, especially involving these space huggers. There's a lot of them. They move fast, and they can jump. Lots of the full-grown alien xenomorphs, too. The characters, none of them stand out like the original crew, which was essentially a bunch of space truckers, and the next cast, which was a bunch of space soldiers. And the actors are all so young that it's like Alien the OC or Alien 90210. What I'm saying is I don't care so much when people who look like they could be in the cast of Euphoria get dissolved with acid blood. I said we're being honest here. The female lead is Kaylee Spaney, and she played the really young wannabe reporter in Civil War earlier this year, which you got to see. She was also in Priscilla, but I have to admit I wasn't into seeing that. But now that we're talking about it, there's literally nothing I want to see more than a movie with Elvis fighting a ship full of aliens. Don't you steal that. All of this is being recorded. You remember, Mo, Bubba Hotep, Elvis versus a mummy?
Yes.
It can be done. Anyway, cast robot seems mandatory in these alien movies. You had Ian Holm as Ash in the first one, then Lance Henriksen, then Michael Fassbender. David Johnson is the robot in Romulus, and he's been programmed to be the protector of the Kaylee Spaley, pardon me, Kaylee Spaney. I had trouble with this all last night. Just change your name to Kaylee Spaley and save everybody the headache. Unless I really missed this in the previous ones, we see the robots here have little mini disk drives in their necks where they can be rebooted and reprogrammed. little clunky. Like, can you burn a mix CD on those too? There's also a little bit too much in the way of homages and callbacks and references to the previous movies, and that includes one of the hugest groaners in terms of dialogue you will ever see. No exaggeration. Pulls you right out of the movie, and you're going to know what I'm talking about the instant you see and hear it. The director is Fede Alvarez, who did the 2013 Evil Dead remake, reboot, whatever, that most people liked a lot better than I did. He also did a respectable suspense movie called Don't Breathe. And I'm pretty sure he even does callbacks to his own stuff in Alien Romulus, which is kind of an artistic way of crawling up your own ass. But I think this is the best thing he's done. It's a fun movie. It's better than most of the sequels, but not in the league of the first two. So here's your pull quote, publicist. Alien Romulus. It didn't Remus. You're going to use that on your Blu-ray box, right?
Oh, my God.
That's your Rahner report.
Oh, my God.
And just some more trivia here. I think the movie also has some references to the Alien Isolation video game, which I can never remember if I've played, and I keep starting it, then setting it aside, and then coming back to it about every year or so. Is this familiar to you, Mo?
I'm aware of it. Never played it. I'm still dwelling on your pun, your Greek mythology pun of Remus and Romulus.
Well, it's a pull quote because publicists ask us for these things.
Are you hoping to get like in the next commercial for it where they'll put your quote up in there?
You never know what they take, and every now and then I'll run across something with a quote from me on the box, and I'm like, hey, nobody asked me about that.
Are they supposed to reimburse you or?
Oh, no.
Okay, so you don't get paid for that?
Never, not a dime, ever.
Okay. This was my question going in, because looking at the trailer, yes, it did not look like a classic Alien or Aliens movie. To your point, OC, Beverly Hills 90210, if you go back to the original Alien, they look like they were some space roughnecks. They look like they were just people who were working blue-collar jobs in space industry. That hasn't been the case for quite some time.
No, and based on what I've read, Fede Alvarez, the director, this cast is based on him seeing, I think, the second Alien movie, Aliens, when they found the girl, Newt, I think, and there was a cut scene of other young people running around, and he wondered what that would be like with a whole cast of younger people, I guess in their early 20s now, trying to survive in that situation. I'm not really down with that. I would like adults in a movie like this, but the movie is worth seeing. It's a ton of fun, and I want to see it again. And this will be a good dude outing for all of us.
And see, maybe it's just a function of being older, but I do like the older cast as a general rule, because they're in leadership positions. They're the ones who would actually be in situations like that, not the 20-somethings.
They kind of sell it. They set it up pretty well here, but it's just hard for me to maintain interest in, basically a child cast. One other thing to notice, because you heard in the trailer there were some accents, that combined with this ambient sound and the sort of constant in the sound, it makes it hard to understand the dialogue. So you really have to pay attention. And if you're in one of those audiences where people won't shut up, you're not going to get completely what's going on.
I think that's more a function of movies today, even on streaming, the dialogue, and it's not a hearing thing, it's just an understanding thing. It makes it's more and more difficult to watch a lot of these movies without closed caption.
Yeah, I find that I'm watching movies with closed captioning a lot more at home. So when this finally does come out on streaming or home video or whatever, you're going to want to use that.
Yeah, and it's because if I watch the older movies, no, dialogue is fine. It's just something that's a function of movies more recently, maybe because the score and soundtrack are overpowering the dialogue, or maybe it's recorded differently, but it's not my imagination. It's something my wife and I have talked about. It's just different as far as how they're equalizing the dialogue versus the background sound design.
Yeah, I don't know what's up with that. Like, what focus group did they have where they received the input? We'd like to not hear clearly what everyone's saying.
I don't know, but it needs to change. Get off my lawn. It's Later with Mo Kelly. KFI AM 640. We're live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. And thank you for that review. That was very thorough. In fact, it convinced me to actually go see Alien Romulus now.
Thank you, Mo.
Later with Mo Kelly on KFI AM 640.
Live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. You may remember, or you may not remember, it's about maybe 6 months ago, we had one of the stars of X-Men 97 here in studio talking about that animated television series, which was very, very popular on Disney Plus. And it was at the beginning of the season and running simultaneous to the debut of X-Men 97 on Disney Plus. There was a controversy because the creator of the series, Bo DeMeo, he was fired and he was stripped of his production and writing credits for season 2. He said at the time, the creator of the show, said that it was due to posting pro-gay and gay pride content on social media. Well, Marvel, which is a company which usually doesn't respond to anything, took this opportunity to respond to this guy, Bo DeMeo, and said, no, that's not why we fired him. We fired him because of other internal investigations and what they yielded. Let me just give you specifics. But where is it? Oh, yeah. First, this is what Bo DeMeo said. Quote, above is X-Men fan art I posted on Instagram for Gay Pride in June. On June 13th, Marvel sent a letter notifying me that they'd stripped my season 2 credits due to the post. Sadly, this is the latest in a troubling pattern I suffered through while working on X-Men 97 and Blade. He said he would have more to say soon. But at that point, he was taking a step back from social media to find a safer space for him to be out, proud and nerdy, close quote. Marvel is saying that DeMeo was terminated in March of this year following an internal investigation. And given the egregious nature of the findings, we severed ties with him, quoting Marvel, immediately, and he has no further affiliation with Marvel, close quote. For me, this is real simple. This is real simple. There's no way Bo DeMeo would be stripped of his writing credits and anything else connected to X-Men 97 as a creator unless Marvel had the goods on him as far as alleged sexual misconduct at Marvel. And according to Marvel, the credit removal was due to breaches of the two sides' separation agreement and for alleged sexual misconduct. I don't know the inner workings of Marvel. I've never worked for them, happen to be a fan of the company. But Marvel doesn't strike me as the company which would be sensitive to the idea of support for gay pride.
You're trying to tell me Wolverine's not gay?
Well, we can go down the list of all the different characters. Well, if you look at just Deadpool, I mean, he's like pansexual.
There's nothing he wouldn't. You can finish the sentence.
No, I won't finish the sentence.
Okay.
So Marvel has long been a company I think has been inclusive as far as the characters that they present and also the creators who have presented those characters.
X-Men specifically, though, is about that theme, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Twala, what say you?
Also, on this series, they debuted one of the first openly non-binary animated characters in any animated
who we had on the show.
That's why I'm like, I don't know if that argument works, Mr. DeMeo. Like that's.
And also, if you were wrongly stripped of his credits, well, the next thing that we would hear about is a lawsuit.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, if they wrongly stripped you of your credits for season 2 as the creator, that seems like an open and shut legal case. And if you want to say it's wrongful termination, that would also be part of that lawsuit. So in the absence of the suit, it says to me that there is more smoke connected to the fire that Marvel says exists than the one that he says exists.
Yeah, because he's just going on social media. This isn't a release about an actual lawsuit. He's just like, oh man, Marvel's coming down on the LGBTQ community. It's like, are they though? Are they?
Yeah. One, that's not what Marvel does. Not historically. Two, that's not what the X-Men is. And if Marvel were super sensitive to that, then nothing named X-Men would be out. Nothing. They would not have greenlit the series. I just don't see it. Let me just put it in Mark Rahner terms. Remember how Mark was telling us how he did some voiceover work and some writing for a video game. If it had come out later that they stripped him and his credits and they took basically money out of his pocket for doing that because of some sort of misconduct on the part of Mark Rahner, Mark is going to sue.
I never do anything. There's nothing
that we know of.
That we know of. But I'm saying, if someone is going to strip your rights in perpetuity, they damn sure better know that their I's have been dotted and the T's have been crossed before they do that, just from a legal standpoint.
I have lots of friends who do and have worked with Marvel, and I've never really heard of anything like that. And in fact, the only times I've heard of things like that in the comics industry at all are when people have been outed as predators.
You're not saying, but you're just saying.
No, and I'm not going to name any names, even though you can look this stuff up. And these are names that have been published, and people they've gone on to different careers now because nobody wants to work with them. It's entertainment is a smaller industry than people generally think it is. And if it gets out that you've done X, Y, or Z that is no bueno to other human beings, nobody wants to work with you.
That's the lesson. That's the takeaway.
If you didn't like that opinion, keep listening. We've got a few more.
KFI
and KOST HD2.
Los Angeles, Orange County.
Live everywhere.